We're going to go over the start position for the snatch. So George is going to go ahead and get into the start position. I'm going to try not to make him stay in this too long because it's kind of challenging to hold this position. So he's got his snatch grip. His shoulders are directly above the bar. The mass of his shoulders, maybe like this part right here, the mass of the shoulder is kind of above and maybe slightly in front of the bar. His knees are poking through right there by his elbows. His elbows are turned out, and that kind of helps relax the arm. And in weightlifting, the arm starts at the neck and it goes all the way down. So you want to kind of relax it all the way from the neck all the way down. The weight's about mid-foot. The bar is directly above the kind of the end of the laces of his shoe. So go ahead and rest a little bit. So it gets a little challenging to kind of hold that position. And you're not even lifting any weight right now, right?
Yep.
So if you think about it, that's the first position that you lift the bar off the floor. In a way, what you do first is almost the most important thing in the entire lift. So if that's really challenging to hold with no weight, that's a sign that you really need to get that position strong, because that's kind of like your first defense against bad technique, is having a good, strong start position. So we'll go back into the start position. So he's got a nice start position. Something that I didn't mention, you want these arms relaxed. So what you can do to do that is you raise the chin, and that really tightens up the erectors. The erectors are a group of muscle that kind of comes all the way from your lower back all the way up to the base of the skull. So raising the chin will help tighten up the erectors in the mid-back, so that way you can keep the arms relaxed while keeping that upper back nice and tight. So that's a good way to keep your upper back tight and your arms relaxed. So where are you feeling this, the weight in your foot in this position?
Mid-foot.
Yeah, so he's in mid-foot position. That's kind of where you want to feel it. You don't want to feel it back on the heels. You want to feel kind of mid-foot and balance. As you come up, the weight will shift. So as far as muscularly, where did you feel it holding that position?
Majority of the weight I feel in my quads.
Yeah, majority in the quads. How about the upper back?
Yeah, I feel my back getting nice and tight, my arms are nice and long and relaxed. So I feel a lot of it throughout my back and then majority in the quads.
So one thing that he mentioned is that when he's down in that bottom position, he actually feels it in his hamstrings, which is actually a sign that his glutes might be a little bit weak. So if you're feeling, when you bend the knee, it should actually kind of turn the hamstrings off, because when you stretch the hamstrings at the knee, they're going to be more active at the hip. But when they go here, it's the glute that really should be taking over. But if you're feeling it in your hamstrings, that might be a sign that they're kind of compensating for the glutes. Because really, when you're in that bottom position, you should really feel your hips and your glutes starting to activate to kind of coordinate that position right off of the floor. And so that would be a good thing for him to do, is to just try to feel, try to visualize the glutes and get that brain-body connection with the glutes, and he'll start getting more and more control out of the start position. An exercise that I really like to kind of help with the start position is a lift-off, where it's only like 1 inch high. So this is, well, 3/4 inches high. So he's going to stand on the platform and kind of roll the bar. So he's lifting from a deficit. He's going to get into the snatch start position, and he's only going to lift it as high as this board, however high your board is, so that he pauses in the exact same position that he would pick the bar up off of the floor. So a little bit lower, yeah, right there. So his knees are poking through, the shoulders are directly over the bar, the weight's mid-foot. He's starting to burn in the quads and all of the muscles, and then go ahead and rest. This is really challenging to do, so I'm not going to wear him out too much. He's got a max out later today. But this is a great exercise to kind of get those muscles strong and give an isometric hold at a spot in the lift that you normally don't have a lot of time under tension at. Usually, that's just like, you get there and you go right past it. You don't really spend a lot of time there. So this exercise lets you spend more time there, lets you get a lot stronger in this position. So when you're doing it, it's really important to make sure you get that exact right position and hold it there for that isometric, and just keep getting stronger. And you'll be surprised, a lot of people, when I start them out, they'll have a lot of trouble holding this position with just the bar. So if you're having trouble holding this with just the bar, imagine how easy it's going to be for you to get pulled out of position when you're snatching heavy.
Yeah, you can definitely feel that more in the glutes and the quads as well, holding that position.
Yeah, yeah, it's good training. So in the clean start position, a lot of the position is going to be very similar to the snatch. Things that are going to stay the same is that the mass of the shoulder is going to be, for the most part, directly above the bar. The knees are poking through. The bar is kind of directly over the end of the shoelaces. He's got a nice upward chin that's going to help tighten up that mid-back. The biggest difference, so we'll go from clean to slide out to snatch grip, is that the hips go a little bit lower when you go into the snatch grip, and then back to clean. So that's really the only difference. Those main parts are going to stay the same. So go ahead and rest. So a lot of people will talk about back angle with like clean, like your hip should be lower than your knees at the start or higher. And really that's something that you can't take across different individuals. If your femur, which is this bone right here, is really long, your hips are going to be at a different height than somebody who has really short femurs. So using that, like back angle and how high your hips are at the start position, is not a good determining factor to find if you have a good start position. Use the shoulder position, the mass of the shoulder being directly over the bar, the knees poking through, the bar kind of over the shoelaces. Those are things that will be consistent across multiple body types. The things that will be different is going to be hip angle. So go ahead and let's turn the bar sideways so they can see directly from the side to see that start position. So we'll keep going this way, right there. So he's getting in this start position. You can see that these knees are poking through right here. You really see that the mass of this shoulder is kind of directly on top of the bar, slightly in front. That's still good. Drop your hips to where the mass of your shoulder will be behind the bar. That is not a good position. That's going to make that bar just run right into your shins, and then you're not going to be able to move that bar into the hip. It's just going to come forward. Some people will do a dynamic start where they'll lower their hips, and then when they actually lift the bar up, the mass of the shoulder will be kind of directly on top and in front. But don't start with the mass of the shoulder behind. Those are kind of like the main things for the start position. They kind of go across with snatch and clean and jerk. So let me go on there and you can kind of see the difference in the hip position with different body types. And you'll kind of see that the hip positions are just a little bit different. Go ahead and do snatch and clean. Good. So you'll see the mass of the shoulders was still directly over the bar. The knees were poking through on both of ours, but our hips were at different heights and different positions. So the back angle was different because we're two different individuals. We have different limb lengths, and those are the kind of the big factors that you want to pay attention to when getting into the start position.
Hey, it's George from House of Weightlifting. Thanks for giving this video a watch. If you liked it, you can subscribe, like, or comment. Also, if there's any videos you may want to see in the future, be sure to drop in the comments below. Thank you.